These corporations are going to bring the downfall of the U.S. economy. Ah, man, who was it that said? Lenin? I think it was Lenin who said the capitalist will sell us the rope to the commies for which we'll use to hang them. And this is just, dude, it's so, and again, conservatives, little government free marketeers will say this is all good because I get my 401k is growing and, free markets and free trade. It's just so freaking insane. Anyways, check this out. I'm stunned by this, but Nvidia will pay 100K visa fees. Right? Nvidia CEO Jason Huang said his company will pay $100,000 fees for H-1B visas imposed by Trumpsters. Trump's announcements appear to be designed to discourage future H-1B employment sponsorship, but Nvidia says, no, dude, we're still going to use it. Because Jason Huang said, I don't think my family would have been able to afford the $100,000 when I came here. The opportunity for my family and me would not have been as possible without this current policy. Yeah, that's the freaking point, dude. That's the point. The H-1B program operates on a random lottery system. According to the U.S. Citizen Immigration Services, in 2025, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Meta were in the top 5 companies petitioning for H-1B visas. Amazon recruited more than 10,000 H-1B applicants in 2025 alone because they can't find Americans with computer science degrees to do the jobs. Nah, they can't, because no Americans want to do the jobs. And we come down here and watch my man here, this guy, Ben Johnson, who's chief operating officer at a small business lender, Catapus, says Huang's announcement doesn't mean much for the small business community because the small business community doesn't use H-1B process to recruit workers. It doesn't surprise me to hear that Nvidia is continuing on with the use of the program because, quite frankly, they can afford the money to access the top talent that is critical for their ability to grow the business because the top talent doesn't reside in the United States. Dude, it's such a freaking fraud. It's such a scam. And again, conservatives were like, yeah, man, as long as my 401k grows, I can buy my 20th house. I'm okay. And check this out. So I said to freaking stupid Grok, I said, Grok, how many people... Oh, this is, we're going to go to Amazon first. I said, let's see how Amazon. Let's check this out. Hang tight for just a second right here. Oh, by the way, this is from Bo Snerdley's Daily BS, which I signed up for. Remember, Bo Snerdley was Rush Limbaugh's right-hand man. I'm a big fan. I love this. He sends it out twice a day, and I'm a big fan. And again, I just want to go back again, because Amazon, right here, Amazon recruited more than 10,000 H-1B applicants in 2025 alone. So let's take a look. How many people have Amazon laid off since the last 5 years, which includes the pandemic? But you can see nothing during the pandemic. 2022, 10,000. 2023, 18,000. 2025 so far, 14 to 15,000. Mostly focused on managers. Interesting. And I said of Grok has said, were Americans most of the layoffs? And what Grok says right here, Amazon layoffs totaling 80,000 from 2022 to 2025 focus heavily on corporate roles. AWS devices rather than warehouse workers, because warehouse workers are the computer scientists. Okay, interesting. Corporate roles are disproportionately in the United States, particularly Seattle, Washington, Arlington, Virginia, and New York City. Seattle alone hosts tens of thousands of corporate employees. Interesting. And Amazon's workforce population is about 60. Let's see, they have this 60. It was about 60% of the United States or something like that. All right, so let's check this out. Let's go down here to Nvidia. To its credit, hasn't had a big layoff. They just haven't, but they still laid 300 to 500 off in 2024. Expect another 100 to 200. In research and development, employees involved in GPU efficiency innovation, allowing AI models such as this, because, again, we can't find the people here. So they major round of layoffs in 2023. Still, they have done actually a relatively good job of not laying off people. But again, check this out. Their workforce consists of, right here, 50% in the United States, even though Nvidia was founded in the United States. Kind of interesting. Okay. So then we go down. I just looked at AMD because remember AMD, of course, is an old-fashioned American model. That here's Meta, Facebook. They have had 13,000 layoffs in 2022, 21,000 in 2023, 1,000 and 3,600 in 2025 so far. Reuters, CNBC, and the New York Times says Meta's workforce composition, the majority of the layoffs were in the United States as well, estimating 60 to 70%, 75% of total cuts. This inference stems from Meta's heavy concentration of corporate and engineering roles in the U.S. because, again, we can't find quality engineers in the United States. We got to ship them overseas. Interesting. Then I said, how many H-1B visa has Meta requested? And they said right here, Meta has requested about 40,000 H-1Bs from the 2020 to 2025, and they get a 99% approval rate. Dude, these, I just, let's take a look at what's the other stupid companies. Microsoft. Did we already do Microsoft? We did Amazon. No, we didn't do Apple. Let's do Apple here. How many layoffs does Apple have? Let's go down here and see what they say. Hang tight. All right, let's type in, how many layoffs has Apple had in the last 5 years? Look at my typing skills. That's the only thing I learned how to do in high school, and I still got a D in typing class. Oh, my goodness. But I mean, hey, look at me. All right, so Apple, not a huge amount of layoffs, so good on them. All right, good on them. 1,200 to 1,300 in 2024. That's good. All right. So then we're going to look at what's the other company. Did we already do Microsoft? I don't think we did Microsoft. How many layoffs has Microsoft had in the last? And I don't know if these numbers are right. I don't know. I'm not going to really dive into it, but I do know that for you conservatives who trust corporate America, they're looking for America. They're not looking for America, dude. They're just not. There you go. Look at Microsoft, 15,500 layoffs. Aggressive AI pivot, 10,500 2023, 4,500 2024. U.S. focus, 60% to 70% were in the United States because they can't find people to do the jobs here. I just posted this on my various socials. Obviously, these firms can't find Americans to do the job, right? And somehow your typical conservative will still think these corporations are pro-American. They're not. They're not pro-American. They're pro-globalist. And we see right here, FedEx's second ever CEO in its history, Raj, I can't pronounce that last name, has hired 2 new executive vice presidents, Vishay Talwar and that guy right there. And here's from the John Birch Society, 100%. Oh, John Birch. International banking dynasties based out of New York and Britain, such as the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, sought to merge capitalism and communism into a totalitarian global system. The project is still carried out today by modern globalists in the UN and America, 100%. And I hate all the people. So I'm the Jew. That's not the freaking Jews, dude. I hate that crap. Rockefellers weren't Jews. It's globalist. You think they care about religion, you freaking idiots? Oh, my God, it drives me insane. The Jews, as there's this freaking thing, the Jews make all the world bad. I'm like, do you think the people care about what? Do you think they care about God? Well, they're just ethnics. Dude, they're freaking, it's so beyond just this one group of people. It's a globalist, Satanist, demon-run, totalitarian society that runs things, man. How can you not see this? And you're going to sit there. They don't care about freaking the culture. They don't care about your neighborhood. They don't care about the country. It's insanity, man. How can you not see this? And I'm just like, not you guys probably can, but the typical conservative can't. I'm like, until the typical conservative wakes up, we're never going to win this. Anyways, all a distraction to get people from, instead of focusing on what is blindingly obvious, is that a country is not just the borders. A country is the people. And the people dictate what a country is. I mean, would you say, I don't know, who's a nomadic Indian tribe? The Cherokee. I don't know if they're nomadic at all, but let's just say the Cherokees. Is there a Cherokee nation? Is the Cherokee Nation right there solely in Georgia, or the Cherokee people a nation when they go to Oklahoma and stuff? They're still a nation, dude. A nation isn't its borders per se. A nation is its people. Now, a nation should have borders unequivocally. But this idea that there's some freaking class of people who follow or don't follow a certain God out to get us, as opposed to just a globalist people. And we just look at freaking David Rockefeller's international words. Check this out. And here's David Rockefeller himself. This is David Rockefeller, Counselor for Foreign Relations. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty. I am proud of it. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to national autodetermination practice in past centuries. David Rockefeller, by the way, is not a Jew. Just want to point that out. That's from his book Memoirs. We are grateful to the Washington Post, New York Times, Time Magazine, and other publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subjected to the lights of publicity during these years. But the world is more sophisticated and prepared to march towards a world government. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite, we are talking about that. It just... And you think George Soros has any loyalty to Hungary? Of course not. You think David Rockefeller had any loyalty to the United States? Of course not. You think, I don't know, whoever the rich guy in Italy, I don't know who it is. I don't know. I remember it used to be Silvio Berlusconi or whatever his name was. I'm not even sure he was a pro-Italian, even though he was the president or whatever the hell, his PM for the Conservative Party for many years. Of course not. It's the globalists, dude. And it's the corporations. And look what's happening in Germany right now. Germany's dead to rights with their economic production. It's like the worst it's been in 50 years or something. That's insane. Because the globalists have shut down industry in Germany because of the Green New Deal crap. You think they're that stupid they did not know that they sacrificed nuclear energy, fossil fuels, that they're not going to be able to have freaking smelter plants. They're not going to be able to have industrial production because they don't have the electricity from solar and wind. You think that elites did not? That's basic physics, dude. Even your old buddy Josh with his lump of coal can figure this stuff out. And then they cut off natural gas from Russia. You think these people didn't know what they were doing? Anyway. So what's the end? I don't know. I ride out the stock market as much as I can. And I think the answer, though, is at some point, you're just going to have to go back to a less consumption way of life. And I get it, dude. Let me look at my consumption here. Look at this. This is my house. A beautifully beautiful house. You know what I'm saying? And who I have to freaking talk. But I want to encourage my kids at least to say, hey, man, maybe just go back to the way it was. You know, live in a small town, small house, you know, raise a couple kids. You know, let's read right here. Some John Prine lyrics right here. Spanish Pipe Dream. Let's see. Blow up your TV. Throw away your paper. Go to the country and build yourself a home. Plant a little garden, eat a lot of peaches, and try to find Jesus on your own. That's John Prine. Yep. Anyway, God bless.